Nerdy is defined as someone characterized by an obsessive interest in something. Xbox, Marvel, technology, D&D, Lord of the Rings, escape rooms, Pokemon, Funko Pop, Star Wars, PlayStation, comic books, Magic the Gathering, Nintendo, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers. All of that is Tech D Rob, host of the Nerd News Podcast, your source for everything nerdy.
I realize you guys are all nerds.
And this is the Nerd News Podcast.
Welcome to the Nerd News Podcast for April 25th. Had to look at the calendar. I'm recording this on a Monday afternoon and in a studio that currently doesn't have air conditioning. Mostly because I have things uploading to YouTube and Vimeo. I'm just trying to, finish out the day and take care of this podcast. So I'm not going to be in my office studio just yet for the Nerd News Podcast. Maybe in coming weeks. But for now, we are in here. This studio, which is the studio where everything else recorded for the Ace and TJ show is done. Hopefully the AC is fixed tomorrow. I can't wait to get in my car and get to some AC after this finishes. So let's get to the quick hits. On pretty much all current platforms, including Switch and PC, After Image, Strayed Lights, and those are out today. Desta, The Memories Between are out on Switch and PC tomorrow. And then Thursday, Bramble the Mountain King on all of those consoles that the previous mentioned, including Switch and PC. Kazuna AI, Touch the Beat on PlayStation 4, PlayStation VR, Switch and PC. Lego Brick Tales on iOS and Android. Live Alive, I don't know. PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and PC. Omega Strikers on the Switch. And The Last Case of Benedict Fox on Xbox XS, Xbox One, and PC. And then Friday, the big titles, Monster Hunter Rise, Sunbreak on current and next-gen PlayStation and Xbox. And finally, Star Wars Jedi Survival on current-gen PlayStation and Xbox. I'm sorry, next-gen PlayStation and Xbox. I never can remember where we make the delineation, but also on PC. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Very excited about that game. Digitally this week, you have Scream 6 available. And in theaters, I'm assuming limited release, Big George Foreman. I've seen no trailers about that, but sounds interesting at the very least. So let's take a quick break, and when we return, I have two movie reviews for you, a season review of The Mandalorian, and just a couple new things to talk about. But that's coming up next.
At TechD_Rob on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. More Nerd News Podcast next. Follow TechD_Rob on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. At TechD_Rob. This is the Nerd News Podcast.
When I went to the break, I did the finger gun at the camera, and I don't know why I did that, but I did it, and it's etched in video forevermore. But welcome back to the Nerd News Podcast. And over the weekend, I finished off The Mandalorian Season 3, started on Friday. I really wasn't caught up at all. I missed the last few episodes, but I caught up to everything but the final episode, watched the final episode yesterday. It was a lot of fun. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a few minutes on the Nerd News Podcast. But the quick few little things that I wanted to bring up. There's a new set of Magic the Gathering available on Magic Arena. It is called March of the Machines, and it's a lot of fun. It introduces a new card type. It's called Battle. So if you've ever played Magic the Gathering, this is a brand new card type. It's never been seen before until this set. It's interesting. I don't know how impactful it will be in the game itself, but it is something to look at, something to look for when you're trying to play this new set, which is available in card and digital form as of this podcast. So that's new. Also, there's a new Godzilla vs. Kong movie, and they're not calling it Godzilla vs. Kong. They're calling it Godzilla X Kong. So maybe like Cross Kong. Excuse me. Godzilla Kong, The New Empire. So no word yet on when that's going to release. And that's all the real news I could find for you this week. Now let's get into some reviews. So I have two movie reviews. I have Renfield, Evil Dead Rise, and The Mandalorian Season 3. You know how I do reviews. I start with the one that I liked the least. I'm going to start with Evil Dead Rise. I thought it was going to be incredible. The trailers really showed this scary movie. And it was scary, and it wasn't bad. But everything that was really crazy was in the trailers. For example, the mommies with the maggots now part is very early in the movie, and they really showed you the whole scene there almost. There's another scene from the trailer with a cheese grater being used as a weapon, and that's you pretty much saw the whole thing in the trailer. So it's not a bad movie, but it suffers from trailer overexposure for sure. So it's not worth seeing, but I mean, I have AMC A-List, which is the reason I did see it. I wouldn't pay non-matinee prices for it. Let's put it that way. But a movie I would pay non-matinee prices for, Renfield. Nicolas Cage as Dracula. Nicholas Hoult as Robert, what's his middle name? Anyway, Robert Renfield is the character's name. A lot of fun, as you might expect from a Nicolas Cage movie where he gets to play Dracula. He chews it up, man. Nicolas Cage is incomparable as an actor, for good or for bad. This time for good. It was a lot of fun to watch. Definitely, if you're a fan of Nicolas Cage in his good roles, this is one of them. So definitely check out Renfield. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, and again, this is going to be a short nerd news podcast. There's not a whole lot going on, and I'm in a room that's temperature is quickly rising. Mandalorian season 3. So in this season, we realize the show The Mandalorian isn't about a single Mandalorian. It's not about Din Djarin. It's not about just Din Djarin and Grogu. It's about the clan of the Mandalorians, the armorer. What is her name? Bo-Katan. The Mandalorian as a people is what this show refers to, and it's pretty fantastic. This last season, not to spoil too much, but I did cry in the final episode of season 3. Look, I cry a lot. Don't take that you take that with a grain of salt that it requires, because that could mean it's something just hit me wrong that day. I don't know. But definitely, if you're a fan of Star Wars, you would be a fan of season 3 of The Mandalorian. And of course, other Star Wars news. There's new trilogies coming out. Not necessarily a new trilogy. I know there's new stories to be told. Like one with Rey starting the new Jedi Order over. Hopefully some of these will involve Grogu, as, not to spoil too much, but The Mandalorian Season 4 could be on the way. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, so it's I'm very excited to see where they go from here with these characters. Ahsoka, I think, is the next Star Wars related thing that will be out. So hopefully we can learn more about Star Wars in general. I need to finish Andor. I'm not finished that one yet. Definitely want to, though. But The Mandalorian is where I was most interested in picking things up, especially since, the Book of Boba Fett left a lot to be desired as far as Star Wars goes. But this movie, I loved it. It was a lot of fun. The show was a lot of fun. And I definitely recommend you check it out if you have not already. So that is the Nerd News Podcast for this week. Again, I apologize for it being super short, but I got to get out of this room, man. It's hot. I'm sweating. And check me out on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch, TechD_Rob on all of those platforms. And I appreciate you joining me on this week's Nerd News. I will see you next week.
That's it for this week's Nerd News Podcast. Follow TechD_Rob on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at TechD_Rob. Subscribe now. More nerd news next week.